when it comes to, like, say, let's talk specifically. I understand what the ground, and I think anybody can understand what the two-part process to go into the ground is about. But when it comes to the branch, are you trying to mimic a specific gland? What is the purpose of that? Like, are you trying to mimic forehead gland, preorbital gland? Like, what are you trying to do with that?
Yeah, sure. I'm so glad you asked this, because you see preorbital and forehead all the time for branch products. Because I think to the average consumer that makes the most sense, because the deer rub their face on it, right? A deer's head will get like oily, and those glands play a part in the profile that's on there. But around deer and dead deer, what gland during the is incredibly dominant? The tarsal gland? Yeah, like that's the only gland that actually excretes. So when you walk up to a dead buck and he's in the rut and you're downwind of him, you're like, he smells ruddy, right? You're smelling that tarsal gland. You're not smelling preorbital gland or forehead gland. My point is the prominent gland during the rut that makes the most scent and is the most full. And if you listen to the Mississippi Deer Lab, there's some research that they did over the course of the past few years that actually is leading them. People need to go listen to it, because it kind of changed. It made some things made sense to me, but they're saying essentially when the buck's tarsal gland changes going into the rut and they rub urinate, when they pee down their back of their legs and the tarsal and they urinate, that actually chemically triggers the does to know that the bucks are ready to breed, like ready to breed. And in a 7 to 10 day window from that, they will. So there was some research that they had that was suggesting that the bucks actually are the ones that have a chemical signal also that is important for getting the whole party started. And that will chemically the does to then come into heat. And it's Mississippi Lab. They did it last year. It's like Scrapes and Rubs, Myths versus Truths or something. It was fascinating to listen to. And then they also explained preorbital and forehead glands don't excrete. It doesn't get a pressure and a liquid that gets pushed out of it, whereas the tarsal gland actually does. And deer go crazy for tarsal gland. So that's I think what makes our product work, is that we created something that smells as much as tarsal gland as anything that I've ever smelled. And that's that musty undertone that's in the branch catalyst, and is actually what makes the deer go, dude, where is that? I need to check that. And like I said, we have enough testimonials now from customers that have used the product over the course of the year. And it's like, I was listening to another guy's podcast a few back, and just randomly, and a guy said, yeah, I used DH3 branch catalyst and put it on there. And within 24 hours, I had every shooter that was in the area come and hit that. He goes, I never had anything like it, and I've used all these products. And I was like, that's the stuff I want people to hear, because it's a lot different when it comes from like a random customer that has no level of investment into the product other than utilizing it and like saying it's legit. People recognize guys like Tony Peterson and stuff when they hear him say like, yeah, there's something there. It actually works. And I think that it is. And that's why we branded our product Branch Catalyst, and not, if you actually look at the companies that label their product or brand their product as forehead gland or orbital gland, it'll say forehead gland. Oh, what's the word? The verbiage of it. There's a little minor detail under there that, you know, says not replica or something of that. I wish I could think of what the heck the name, but when you look at the fine
I'm
print,
looking it up right now.
yeah, when you look at the fine print, it tells you that it's not actually forehead gland. But ultimately what you're trying to do is get the organic deer herd to start interacting with the licking branch. And then that's about scrapes. They the good ones run themselves, you know. You get it up and running.
It's the initial, you're trying to get that initial hit, and then after that, then they fire up on their own.
Yeah, and you can do it. You could go out and set a scrape up in September, and it'll get hammered all year, you know. But in that week, it's going to get a lot of activity. It's interesting. Now I've been doing this for a while. I'll go set scrapes up, and I'll put cameras on them, like the first 3, 4, 5 days, week, 10 days or whatever of a ton of activity, and then they go dead because the scent has dissipated and been gone, and the deer just naturally didn't want to be there, so they're not coming back. And I'm like, they're telling me something. Like I don't want that. I want one where they're interacting with it, and then, you know, maybe it slows up a touch or whatever. Is going and consistent. You know, you shouldn't have to be out there every week monkeying with the thing, and if you do, you're probably doing yourself more harm than.
Yeah, people are probably trying to sell you products if they're saying you need to freshen it up every week.
I always freshen it up every go in. If I was a good salesman, that's probably what I would say.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, that and for cost effectiveness and things of that nature, it's like you could buy a scrape kit and you could set up, you know, half a dozen scrapes. It's 2 8-ounce cylinders. There's 2 different scrape kits on our site now. Basically, the sweet aromatic tone is the differentiating factor. The gland is the same. You could go out there with a kit, which is 8 ounces of synthetic urine and 8 ounces of branch catalyst, and you could probably set up a half a dozen scrapes. And out of that half dozen, maybe you get into season and 2 or 3 of them are really rock on. I mean, you're, for the cost spend, $39.99 for the 2 kits, like per ounce. There's a lot of products that have 2 to 4 ounces of scent for $29, $30. So we're at 16 ounces for $39. So bang for buck right there. You know, by that metric, cost efficiency and effectiveness was one of the reasons why I like the product too.
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this conversation, share it with your buddies. Leave us a rating, a review, and subscribe. If you want to check out more content like this, there's plenty in the links below. We truly appreciate having you guys along with us.